Welcome back to another episode of the KarterKast. I'm your host, Karter Baughan. With me, as always, Dylan, Ben, Connor. College football, week 2 preview. Week 1 is come and gone. We're in the thick of it now. We're in the thick of it, Dylan. Football season.
We're here.
We made it. We already had 1 week. We're just getting warmed up. What we talked about this before we hopped on. When you talk about college football in the NFL, that first weekend of college football just warms you up for the NFL and college football because it gives you that taste. It's like getting a nice little appetizer, a sorbet. You're like, all right, I'm ready. I need the steak. I need the ribeye. I need the big old steak. And we get that this weekend with NFL and college football back. But before we get into today's episode, we're brought to you by SeatGeek. Download the SeatGeek app or go to SeatGeek.com. Use code KarterKast, $20 off your first purchase, $50 minimum purchase required. Terms and conditions apply. Go to SeatGeek.com. Use code KarterKast, $20 off first purchase. Dylan, anything about SeatGeek today?
I do actually today. Yesterday, Boston College, Florida State used SeatGeek code KarterKast to get tickets to the game. Drove all the way down there. Tickets were like $2. You see the top of that bowl, empty as could be. No one was at that game. Even at the beginning, it was embarrassing. But shout out SeatGeek code KarterKast, was able to get $20 off of my purchase. Very cheap tickets. SeatGeek, thank you.
I love it.
Go Boston College Eagles.
I love it. Real quick, so we're going to talk quickly about week 1. If you didn't tune into Dylan and I's live stream, great. Make sure to tune in this week. We'll be back again this Saturday night, right after NC State, Tennessee, Colorado, Nebraska. So tune in at KarterKast on Twitter, KarterKast YouTube, like and subscribe. Real quick, week 1, quick reactions. I want to do this thing where we do these preseason predictions where you think you know what we know. We think we're like, okay, I'm confident this team's going to be great. And after week 1, you immediately know after 2 throws that, crap, I screwed up on my prediction. I screwed up immediately. So what we're going to do is, real quick, out of your predictions before the season, you can take them back. This is your one chance to take them back. You can get out of it now. But if you get out of it, you can't claim it later on in the season, which almost looks worse now, which almost will make you look double worse. Bad. You're just doubling down. So you can get out of it mostly now. You're getting out at you lose 10% basically, unless none of us had Florida State. None of us had Florida State. If you have Florida State, you're done. You're cooked. But as a good team or underrated team, but this is your chance to get out. Dylan, are there any teams you want to get out on?
Can I be honest? This is not good content. No. All of my takes have been great so far. Boston College has been great. I haven't seen anything from Iowa State. Oregon, I guess maybe you could say against Idaho, but true ball knowers know that game was not as close as the score showed. And what's other conference I'm missing? SEC?
Big 12?
Georgia looked good. Big 12, Iowa State, we haven't seen play yet, so I'm not. Kansas State, they won their cupcake, and I had them as overrated. So I'm staying pat. I've been right so far.
I want to give you the chance, Connor.
You're still right on Oregon?
100%.
I'm not saying you're not. I'm just bringing that up.
Real ball knowers know that score is not indicative of how that game actually went. That's a real ball knower stuff right there.
Okay, fair enough. I just had to bring that up. That's all. That's all.
Yeah,
Ben, we might need to go to Ben here, though.
Yeah, I think we might need to
go
to Ben.
I've got one. I've got one. Well, are we allowed to do it with multiple? Because I was just going to do it with one.
You can do multiple, but do your number one you want to pick back.
Number 1 is that Miami's really freaking good.
Okay, that's the one.
And I didn't even want to say, I never said that. I was never trying to say that I thought they'd be bad. I was just trying to pump the brakes. There's no pumping the brakes. We're all gas, no brakes.
Can I add something to that real quick? I understand we don't want to hit too long on reviewing last week. Cam Ward, man, when he escapes the pocket, I said this on the live stream, when he escapes the pocket, he is floating on air. He looks like Muhammad Ali in the ring against, I don't even know who he fought, but
Frazier.
I mean, he just looks so comfortable. Makes some bad decisions. That interception was really bad, but the skill is there, and man, does he look cool.
Also, Clemson will not win the ACC.
Ooh.
So, Ben, your prediction of Clemson, Florida State in the title game, that's not going to come to fruition anymore?
I've got a feeling it won't.
And then
what about the DJU revenge game?
And then what about SMU as the underrated team? Do you want to take that back?
Ooh.
You know what? I'm not going to take that. I feel like that'd be too much of a panic move to take that back.
Okay. Did you just take out every single ACC?
Everything ACC related.
Wipe the
wrong.
conference clean.
Someone in here had DJU as the second best quarterback in the ACC.
That wasn't me.
It wasn't me either.
Was that me?
I think that was someone that resides in Ohio.
So I will. I got blinded by the name. That's what that was. I saw the name. I was like, oh yeah, seen that name before, heard that name before. But if you're gonna, I guess I could take that back. That'll be the one take I take back. DJU is not the second best quarterback in the ACC.
The only one
Fries
I
in the
thought about
bag.
taking back was Michigan State underrated team because they looked so bad.
Oh.
They looked horrible.
I went back and watched a good chunk of that game. Aiden Childs looks like shell of himself of what he was at Oregon State. I don't know what that was. So undisciplined. Oh my gosh. Dylan, talking about penalty yards. I think they had 6 late hits in that game.
Are we okay with mild personal attacks here for rivals?
Of course. As long as it's not a bit, of course.
Dude can't see where he's throwing the ball. I mean, he's looking at 2 receivers at the same time. So what do we expect? He says take the overs like, buddy, you can't. You're looking at the scoreboard and your receiver at the same time.
Connor, any takes you want to take back?
Honestly, no. The only one maybe is that I was like, oh, Florida State will be decent. Clearly, they're a tier 2 ACC team. But as far as like my main takeaways, Boston College is good. Georgia stomped Clemson. I'm still in on Oregon. I have big expectations for Iowa State. I think I'm good so far.
Yeah.
West Virginia. Only one's West Virginia. They looked a little questionable against Penn State. I don't want to overreact, but that's one I thought about taking back. But we're going to hold firm. We're not going to
That's
sell.
a silly team.
Can I talk to Connor for a second? Ben, Carter, you guys don't pay attention to this. Connor, Boston College is going bowling, aren't they? They're going bowling.
They might get 6 wins.
They're
Dylan,
getting 6 wins. No, Carter, no. Connor, we might be good there.
That was kind of crazy. We both came to that ACC preview with Boston College, of all teams, as the underrated team. And you know what? I might have sprinkled them to make the ACC title game. Who knows?
Oh, there we
Who
go.
knows? Who
Okay,
knows?
come
Carter.
back in, Carter.
All right, hey, Dylan, Connor, get out of here.
All
Hey,
right,
Ben.
all right.
Hey, Ben. You ready for
Virginia.
You ready for Anthony Calandria Heisman season?
That's just what I was gonna say. I know it was Richmond. He was so good. He was so
amazing.
good. He was so good.
Virginia football might be back if it ever was back. But anyhow, yeah, BC looked good. Florida State's dead. Let's do week 2 stuff. Let's get right into the week 2. We spent too much time on week 1. Check out the live streams. We do, Dylan and I, if you guys want to join also as well, at KarterKast on Twitter, KarterKast YouTube. Like and subscribe. Live stream Saturday night. It's fantastic. Tune in. Anyhow, Texas, Michigan. Texas in the big house. Texas is a 7-point favorite on the road against the defending national title champion. Dylan, thoughts on this game?
Thoughts on this game? National champions. I think that's very important to bring up anytime we talk about Michigan. Reigning national champions. Haven't lost a football game since I've been married. Also, always have to bring up when we talk about Texas, Quinn Ewers could be the starting quarterback for the Ohio State Buckeyes if they didn't have such atrocious mismanagement of their talent. Here's the reality. I'm realistic. Not a big guy. Never been a big guy. Michigan's offense is really bad. Like, we thought it was bad last year. It's very bad. The offensive line is not as good as last year, and you need a strong offensive line to run the ball. Donovan Edwards averaged like less than 3 yards per carry. We do have a couple guys that, like Samaj Morgan will be good. I'm not going to be that guy that just names guys, but we have a couple guys that didn't get the time last year that I think are going to be good players. If we want to win this game, and yes, I said we have to score 2 touchdowns. I don't think that Texas scores more than 10 points, if we're being completely honest. I think if we can sell out to if we can sell out to stopping the run, which we've proven we can do, Quinn Ewers is a completely different quarterback when he is not throwing play action. A 20-point rating drop if we can keep him from establishing the run and keeping him from dropping back in play action. That is going to be very important. Blitz, a completely different quarterback when he's blitzed. Even if you take his blanket numbers, he's, I would say, 12th, 13th best quarterback in college football, realistically. I don't think that they're going to be able to score. Michigan's defense has been the same. Can we score points? That's what's going to come down to. We're going to have to run the ball well. It's not going to be going over top. It won't be at all this season for Michigan. So that's what I'm hanging my hat on. Sell out to the run, stop the run. Don't let them do play action. Don't let them fool you. Michigan scores 2 touchdowns, they win.
Okay, let me talk to the other 3 people in the room. Texas -7 feels like the easiest bet of all time, doesn't it? It feels too
Yeah,
easy.
Came prepared.
I would consider even moving it
to -10.
for
That's mean.
to
Connor,
double digits. Yeah,
Connor, thoughts on this game?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say out of all the takes I had preseason, Michigan being not great is the one I feel the best about. Even after week 1, you look at that game against Fresno, Dylan. That scoreboard does not indicate how close that game was. It was 16-10 in the fourth quarter. Michigan's kicker career day hit from 45, 53, and 55.
Sure.
3 for 3 career
But
day.
that's not
and a pick
that's not a
six with
fluke.
4 minutes left. And a pick six.
That's
with
not
4
a fluke.
minutes
That's what we do with kickers. Jake Moody,
Well-
all-star, best kicker in the nation his senior year.
Pick six, 4 minutes left. I think the scoreboard does not
Sure.
indicate how close
Sure.
that game was. That was my first point.
But let's keep that energy with Ohio State and their two turnover scores. So just saying.
I will.
Okay, all right.
Texas, meanwhile, came out guns blazing, held Colorado State 192 yards total offense. It comes down to this for me. I like Michigan's defense. As opposed to all the Twitter accounts attacking me and posting draft big boards, a year before the draft. Congratulations, the defense looks pretty good. I never said they wouldn't. I don't trust Michigan's offense. And we came out with, Origi and Warren. I didn't even know who was going to start at quarterback. I don't trust them to score on this Texas defense. I think that if Michigan scores 2 touchdowns, I'll be shocked.
What about this Texas defense particularly enthralls you, entices you into backing them? Because their run blocking or their run defense, middle of the pack at best. And that was the same last year.
You want to know what entices me, Dylan? Is that
Yeah, what
Michigan and
entices
Fresno State struggled. Dom Edwards had 27 yards on 11 carries, and the Texas front 7 is miles ahead of Fresno's front 7. I think very clearly. It doesn't even mean I'm a big believer like, Texas defense best in the SEC. They're just a lot better than Fresno's, and I didn't like what I saw from Michigan against Fresno. That's basically what it boils down to for me. Other than a pick early, Ewers was pretty good in the opener. Didn't really have a lot of jitters. 12th best quarterback country, that might be a little bit low.
Well,
Dylan?
PFF, but who knows what they're talking? They don't know what they're talking about. So,
well, it's not everything. He showed some dog that I liked. So.
Oh yeah, the dog. I didn't check those out.
I gotta say, Texas -7 seems too easy. I've heard it all about the weather. I've heard it all about, it's going to be 50 degrees in Ann Arbor and all this, yada, yada. I just think there's a talent disparity, and I don't trust either one of Michigan's quarterbacks, no matter who comes out under center.
Serious question. Quinn Ewers ever win a big game? Big 12 championship?
Big 12 title game.
That's it?
Alabama.
At Alabama.
Okay, all right. That's fair. That's
Is
a
this
serious
a big
question.
game? I mean,
Is this a
This is a huge game for them. What are you talking about? I can't. You want to talk crap about the offense? I wish I could push back a little bit. I can't. Like, there's nothing I can say. I wish we weren't. I wish we weren't running a 2 quarterback system right now. I wish it was just one guy. I can't say anything about the offense, but I don't think Texas is going to be able to score more than.
but it just feels like they're gonna. It feels like Michigan's not going to produce enough on offense, and then eventually Texas just pulls away. Like, the defense can only hold up so long. Whatever you say about Ewers, he is talented. They have weapons. They have guys
I want
in
to
the
point out
backfield.
something though. I do want to point out something. Michigan had a lot more success running the ball in the fourth quarter late in the game, and there's some
against the
credence to
tired
that.
Fresno team.
against
Exactly.
a tired Fresno
No.
team?
Tired. That's the thing. You keep running the ball, even if Michigan finds himself down 3 points, a touchdown in the fourth quarter. They're going to have. I think they will have more success running the ball late in the game, no matter who they're playing.
Okay, but 2 things. Let's say Michigan finds themselves down 10 points. There is no world they come back in this game.
Yeah,
No
it's
way.
over.
Sure there is.
I completely agree.
Yeah. It
No.
depends how much time's left, but
running
sure.
the ball.
If they're
Yeah.
down 10 points, they can't. They're not going to be able to come back in this game because eventually they're going to be forced to throw the ball, and they physically can't throw the ball. They can't. There's no world they can throw the ball.
You give them a quarter down 10 points. I have full faith in this Michigan team to make Texas go 3 and out and get the ball back quickly. So that is where
question mark and score
and score by running the ball. A field goal and a touchdown. Yes, I full-heartedly believe. Now, if you're telling me they got to score 10 points with 6 minutes left, sure, that's a completely different conversation. But if we're going into the fourth quarter at 2 o'clock or whatever, Gus Johnson yelling in our ear, I think with a quarter they can do that. There will be plenty of 3 and outs.
I can't wait for
This will
Gus
be a great
Johnson.
game.
Gus Johnson's going to be yelling at like another 2-yard carry for Donovan Edwards. Oh my God!
Looks Origi in his first snap.
But anyhow, I think the way I think this game goes is very similar to Georgia Clemson, where Clemson's defense was swarming in that first half. It was
That one right,
dynamite in that. That Clemson defense was locked in. They were hanging with Georgia. They were there. And then eventually, when you realize your offense is so bad, eventually you just naturally lose that motivation. and you just wear down because you're like, oh my gosh, again, we
That sounds a
play
lot like
our
my week 1 preview, Carter. That sounds
It
a
is.
lot like what I said about Clemson. I'm just
Yep.
saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think Michigan and Clemson may be in the same tier of teams. Who knows?
Oh,
my gosh.
Who knows?
yeah, there we go.
Oh my god.
I think
Feel
this
better
game
about
goes
Clemson's offense.
Yeah, I think this game goes very similarly to that Clemson-Georgia game. I think it's going to be tight in the first half just because that Michigan defense is very good, but I think they're going to wear down because that offense can't do anything. Texas's offense is going to get warmed up in that second half. I think Texas rolls in this game. I think Texas rolls. I got Texas 31-7 in this game.
My gosh.
Oh, wow.
They're not going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah, Michigan's
We
not
can
going to be
sell
able
it
to
the
score.
pass.
You act like this Texas defense is bad. How in the world is Michigan going to score? They could barely score against Fresno State. And this is a legit Texas defense. I mean, Texas played a Mountain West school.
46
Okay,
ranked
Texas-
run defense against Colorado State. One game, Colorado State, 46th ranked.
Backups run
That's-
what,
that's
half the
good
game?
defense?
Backups run last
the
at least a
backup
quarter.
played half the game. And also, they played against a Mountain West school. How many points did they give up, Dylan?
Texas?
Yeah, how many points did they give up?
They gave up 0.
They gave up 0.
What does saying you're playing a Mountain West team have to do with how many points they gave up? You act like the Mountain West is
Who did
their
you play
offensive
last
juggernauts.
Didn't you play a Mountain West school?
They played a much better Mountain West. Are you serious right now? You're
Well.
comparing Colorado State to Fresno State. Are you serious right now? Oh my gosh, you sound like
Ben, thoughts on this game?
I think this ends up. I think Michigan scores a couple touchdowns, but I've got this at like Texas 35-14.
Oh my!
I would
gosh,
say
you
Texas
guys are
is gonna.
insane. Did you
My
watch
take
last
coming
week?
to this.
I did.
Yeah, I did. That's why I think this. I'm going with. I just think this is a game Michigan can't keep up, and I think at some point, I think it could remain close for a half. I think you could go into halftime like 10-7. At some point, though, the defense can only do so much. And there's going to be a point in which I think it just breaks. And then the floodgates are open. Texas is able to score a bunch of points. And I also think Texas has, right, like Michigan's got NFL level players, especially on defense. They've got good athletes, but I think Texas is faster on the perimeter. And I think they're more athletic. They've got a better quarterback. I think that leads to some points. I loved that true freshman. I forgot his name from Texas. Wingo? Is that his name? That guy was good. They've got
Texas secondary is
Isaiah
pretty
Bond.
good, dude.
Yeah. No, Texas is athletic. Got a lot of good athletes. Some dudes at all positions. Michigan has on that defense, but I don't see it on that offense. I think it's close early, but Texas pulls away in the second half.
Also,
Wins by a lot.
Isaiah Bond is not a much of a downgrade from Xavier Worthy, if we're being honest. He's not.
It's not crazy. Yeah, that's not crazy.
He's not.
Ryan Wingo. Ryan Wingo's his name. True freshman.
And
Or
also,
freshman receiver. Very good.
also, let's say Texas comes out hot early. Let's say Texas scores on the first drive. Michigan's done. Michigan's done.
Gosh.
They're going to eventually in this game. Michigan is going to be forced to throw the ball, and they can't. They physically can't throw the ball. At
This is
some
like
point,
I'm talking to Ohio State fans. This is what I'm talking. It's the same thing year
Dylan,
after
no,
year
no,
after
no,
year
no.
after year.
Dylan,
If they score
this-
first, they're not going to be able to come back.
Dylan,
Every year.
This is the reason why Iowa never wins the big game. You guys are Iowa now. Michigan is literally Iowa.
What you're
Oh,
talking?
I
about?
thought that. I thought,
Oh
Carter,
my
I
God.
thought that, but I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say
Why
it.
are we beating around the bush? Michigan is literally Iowa now. The offense is a disaster. A 120th ranked offense in the country probably by the end of the season, and probably a top 5 defense.
And I trust Cade a lot more than the Michigan quarterbacks at Iowa. Just saying.
I do too.
Sorry,
You
Dylan.
trust Kate? Okay.
I do. Score
At this
prediction.
point-
Score prediction here. 27-13 Texas. That's my prediction. And that's
Way
being
too many
generous for
points.
Michigan's offense.
Way too many
27.
What is it going to be, Dylan? 1-0 soccer game?
13-10 Michigan.
Actually, 13
Slugfest.
If Michigan wins, it'll be below like 25 points. I think that is right.
Yep,
that is correct.
First to 2 touchdowns wins.
Dylan, I genuinely thought it was going to end 13-3 in that Clemson-Georgia game, and you're going to be 1 point off.
Wouldn't that have been something? And we were right. We were right about that. We don't need to get into that, but
Well,
man, Clemson's
some of us were
defense is-
really right about that game.
That's true. That's true.
That's true. That's fair. That's fair.
That's all. We don't focus on negatives here, just positives on the cast.
I think
Let's go through score predictions for this one. I know we like glazed over them, but let's see. I want to go through them here, square by square.
All right, who do you want to start?
Me, Michigan, 13-10. Karter.
Texas 31, Michigan 7. I think it's going to be a blowout. Texas rolls. Michigan defense not going to be able to keep up.
I'll go next. I'm going to go Texas 27, Michigan 13, and that's being generous on Michigan's offense. That's predicting a turnover or two.
We got Texas 35-14. Michigan keeps it to a one-possession game at the half, but second half, things get a little ugly.
Less than 50 rushing yards from Texas. Less than
50. Well, guess what? 400 passing yards.
I was going to say 450
nope,
through the air then.
Nope. Not when you can't do the play action.
I will say, I would lean the under here, Dylan. I'm with you on that. I would lean the under here.
What's the total?
This is
43
the best game of the week.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't
43
hate
and a half
under.
seems right.
Yeah, that's it's going to be low scoring. It's going to be, well, for Michigan, it's going to be low scoring because they can't score.
2 touchdowns for Michigan.
This is mean. This is just mean. This is mean. If anybody sees any pictures circulating, just know that the only one that matters is the one of me at the zoo.
Yeah, I might
with
need
Longhorns.
I might need to include these on the post edit. But anyhow, let's
you
move
might
on.
need to.
Let's talk about the game. I've been waiting for this game all offseason. I'm so excited for this one. Tennessee, NC State. This is a game so many people have looked over that they're just like, oh, yeah, that's kind of a fun game, neutral site, whatever. This is an awesome game. This is a tone setter for both teams. Tennessee minus 7.5 in Charlotte. The spread went way up. Before the season, you could have gotten Tennessee minus 4.5. I'll start off. Look, I think one of my takes I wish I could have hopped on is Tennessee being good and Nico winning the Heisman. Oh my gosh. I know we can overreact to FCS opponents. They played Chattanooga last week, and you have to take it with a grain of salt because if you just do that in general, you're like, oh, Louisville's the best team in the country. BYU and Virginia have Heisman level quarterbacks this season. If you just look at it from one game, when you watch Tennessee play Chattanooga, Nico was unbelievable, man. It's impossible not to watch that and be like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a great quarterback. He's probably going to be a Heisman candidate. And especially what makes me think that is under Josh Heupel, who does magic with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I mean, Hendon Hooker was a bang average disaster
Shout out
quarterback.
Greensboro.
Yeah, shout out Greensboro. Was bang average, very, very reckless quarterback at Virginia Tech. Comes in near Heisman candidate if he doesn't get hurt at Tennessee. Then Joe Milton comes in. Joe Milton was meh at Michigan, if that. Barely didn't even see the field. Now he's got an NFL deal now. He's at least on a
beat out
practice
Bailey
squad in the
Zappi.
NFL. Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback now. He made Joe Milton an NFL quarterback. The fact that he has a 5-star blue chip quarterback with Nico, I'm all in on Tennessee. I know I'm big on NC State. I have been in the season. I'm not as worried about that Western Carolina game as a lot of people are. I think it's just a wake-up call. Grayson McCall hasn't played in a long time. Rusty, getting his feet wet. He looked great in the late third, fourth quarter, so I'm not as worried there. But, man, it's hard not to be on Tennessee here, Dylan.
Yeah, Grayson McCall actually graded out pretty well last game, and I think it's anytime I say weeks 1 through 4 in college football and in the NFL, like if you want to bet on games or, have a take or whatever, I always like going against the hype. And it seems right now a lot of people are talking about Nico Heisman, which is fine. Like, I'm not going to say he's not a good quarterback, but a touchdown in the hook for NC State. That game, again, was it West Carolina? It wasn't like it was close going into the half. Like you said, Grayson got better as the game went on. A lot of the game stats indicate that NC State was more efficient than probably what that score indicates. And this is the perfect opportunity. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. McCall looked great. Nico looked great. Nico, no turnover-worthy plays.
First half, Grayson looked terrible.
That's true. But like you said, you settle in, you get used to it, and that's a lot of things from that game are kind of it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Nico, no turnover-worthy plays. I think that's huge for such a young player, even if it is against Chattanooga, going out there at Neyland Stadium for the first time. That's huge. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, but I am looking to fade the hype a little bit or maybe buy on an NC State team that people are kind of down on right now because of their showing against Western Carolina. I think North Carolina State keeps this close, but high-scoring, and Tennessee comes out on top.
Yeah, I like NC State with the spread. I think it is close, but I think Tennessee pulls away at the very end.
This will be a closer game than I think what people think. I think people will come into it thinking high-powered offense in Tennessee. They'll blow them out. I don't think they'll blow them out. I think they'll win, but it'll be close.
Let's get this line to like 9.5, 10 points, and then I can hop in on NC State.
Yeah.
And then I would just take NC State money line at that point too.
Also, real quick, worth noting, Tennessee did bench a lot of their starters in the second half. So whether you want to be like, oh, Tennessee's starters are going to be more well rested, where NC State had to fight for the whole game, something to consider. But I still think
NC State played 2 days earlier, so
yeah, exactly. They're a little give and take.
Yeah. Nico's fantastic. I think this is one of those spots where even I'm having to catch myself where I'd want to be all on Tennessee on the spread, but it's like I've got to compose myself and go, no, it's week 2. Don't buy into purely what you saw week 1. Like, obviously our prep, something we've talked about, is that NC State should be a good team this year. At least good enough to not get blown out by this Tennessee team. It's going to be a little harder for Nico, even though the hype is real. He's going to be fantastic if he's not fantastic already. I think this is going to be a really good game. I do tend to think NC State keeps it to be a 1-score game and covers that spread. But as Karter said, I'd feel way more comfortable with that if it were, 9.5, 10. Then I really like NC State in that spot. Either way, I like Tennessee to win. Had that internal debate on the spread, but think NC State keeps it close.
Connor, I feel like we know where you're going here.
As a Knoxville resident, I watched every snap of Nico on Saturday. We had the game on in the lower right box. We had it on the whole time. He looked great. And I don't want to overreact and be like Nico Heisman, but I missed the SEC preview. I'm pretty sure I picked Tennessee to be in the SEC title game. So I was high on them. I have them making the playoff. So I love that. The only problem with that is NC State, I think, is undervalued. I think you guys are right there. We were high on them preseason for a reason. I think you're Grayson McCall, new place. You're up to the Power 4 now in NC State, even against a lesser opponent, Western Carolina. It'll take some time to get your feet wet. I really do believe that. He's going to make some plays on Saturday. I think he is a playmaker, and I think this game overall, my takeaway is it's going to be fun. It's going to be high scoring because you look at it, State allowed 6.3 yards per rush against Western Carolina. Tennessee is going to be able to score the ball. And on the other side, I do believe in Grayson McCall as a playmaker. The one thing I'll say about Nico is I'm encouraged by the fact that he didn't, like Dylan said, make any turnover-worthy plays because we've seen it time and time again. A quarterback in a new place, like Grayson McCall, or even like a Dylan Gabriel at Oregon, like they will struggle that first game in a new place, in a new offensive system. The first game against a team in different colors than you in practice. And the fact that he didn't, even against a lesser opponent in Chattanooga, very encouraging. Very encouraging. He was perfect in the first half. So my takeaway is I love the over in this game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. And I think NC State will cover, and I think NC State will win.
Yep. Yeah, I'm Connor. I've contradicted myself. I know I said
the hype's too high.
NC State's winning this ball game.
I love
Tennessee.
But
I love Tennessee. I have them in the playoff, but I think this is a loss. I have them in the playoff at like 9-3.
Connor and Ben will know this as ACC sports fans. This works in basketball and football. There is no more dangerous thing in the world than NC State without expectations. That team can beat anybody with no expectations, and especially a team that's talented with no expectations.
It's in Charlotte, too.
In Charlotte, that's going to be 50-50 fans.
Yeah, it's fair.
Tennessee travels, and NC State travels very well. But Dave Dorn as an underdog is one of the scariest things as a college football opponent, because think about all those times Dave Dorn upset Florida State over the years, and Florida State was 2nd overall, 3rd overall.
Yes.
They're not going to be scared against that game, and I don't think the talent disparity is very far off. There were concerns a little bit I had on the defense, but also they dropped like 3 picks. 2 pick sixes in the first half they dropped, the NC State defense in the first half. So it doesn't scare me as much there. I think people do believe that NC State's going to get dog walked in this game against Tennessee after the hype train. I'm going NC State to win this game now. I flipped.
You have to, because the thing is, Nico, I know I just went on a huge rant how I love Nico, but it was Chattanooga, and this is going to be his first taste as a full-time starter against a legitimate Power 4 team in a game that means something. So, I love Nico, but I think we could see some growing pains and maybe a couple picks if it gets late and he tries to force something down the field. I like NC State in this game. I think they have the veteran presence and they have the defense, and I think it's going to go over, but I like NC State, especially in a late close game.
Dylan's not thrilled.
I don't like it. I don't know. I don't watch much NC State football. I just feel like Tennessee's going to outpace this team. Like, run them into
7.5? That seems like a lot, Dylan.
I agree with that. I think they'll keep it close. I think it stays within a touchdown. But I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot of teams in college football that can keep up with how fast Heupel runs this offense.
Will say he caught a lot of crap this week, but I buy into Robert and I bouncing back to a decent degree. I've had him as my offensive coordinator, and I believe in that man. I believe in him as an OC, and I do think if it gets into a track meet, like at least when he was with Virginia, that's where he thrived. Yeah, he loved track meets. So I kind of want, like, it's hard because I've been kind of talked into NC State, but I'm trying not to. But it's also like it's just hard with week 1.
We'll do score predictions
Cool.
in a second.
Cool.
But the question I want to ask is, with NC State, we saw them come out slow against Western Carolina. How much of that is, do you think, okay, we overlook Western Carolina, probably didn't even watch hardly any film on them, we're just prepping for Tennessee for an extra week?
Like, I will give that credit. I will allow that for every team unless you wear scarlet and gray. Honestly, that's if you start out slow against your first cupcake, I will give you credit. Like, coming into the season, you don't have tape, especially when you have a big game on deck like NC State did. So I mean, I think that's more than fair, and that's part of the reason why I don't think that Tennessee blows them out. Like, it just seems like a lot of people are low on NC State, and it was kind of the talk. Like, if you were on Twitter, it's like, oh, NC State close with Western Carolina at half. And then Tennessee, all the talk is Nico's the best quarterback in college football. He's going to win the Heisman. Tennessee just blew out Chattanooga like 62-3 or whatever. So I give credence to that. I think that's a fair point.
Then give me
Tony, there's a reason. Real quick. There's a reason that I was low on Clemson, low on Florida State. I think NC State is still the second best team in the ACC, and I'm not going to back off that just because of a struggle against Western Carolina.
But that could be less of praise for NC State and more of an indictment on Clemson and Florida State.
I think it's a little both. And I'm not even just saying that after Florida State lost 2 in a row. Like, I would have said that last week as well.
Yeah, okay. That's the thing. I agree with Connor there, too. I think it is definitely both, especially on the Florida State side. But I never believed in Florida State or Clemson from the get-go, and I've been on the NC State hype train the whole time.
Score predictions, shall we?
Yeah, score predictions, Dylan.
35-31 Tennessee.
35-31 NC State. I can't believe you took it out of my mouth. Yeah, I have it written down right here. I think we saw too much success from Grayson McCall at Coastal Carolina. I'm not going to bash him for his week 1 performance. I think he's proven to make some plays. It's going to be fast-paced, high-scoring. I think both teams regress. I think Tennessee maybe comes down a step, and NC State takes a step up. And that gap is not as big as 7.5 says. I think NC State wins 35-31.
No reason to bash Grayson. Oh my gosh. No reason to bash Grayson McCall. He graded out very well, even though we want to talk. He actually played.
Dog factor was a little interesting in week 1, but I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah.
Ben.
Go 38-35 NC State. I'm being transparent. I got talked into it. ACC. It's ACC. And this is the ultimate, like, these are evenly matched teams if you take out last week. And I think this is one of those where we're going to exaggerate how NC State didn't look good. We're probably going to exaggerate how good Tennessee was. I think they're both near each other in terms of talent and how good they are. I think these are 2 very good teams. I think NC State wins. This is just I was even catching myself liking Tennessee a little too much just based off of week 1 and not liking NC State as much just because of week 1.
Bring it on over.
And I've started with that, but I think I had to catch myself. I'm going to go NC State. This is a good buy low, fade the public kind of thing.
63-0 NC. I'm just kidding. I'll go State 31, Tennessee 28.
So here's the problem I'm seeing. I am on an island so far. And I almost feel like I'm getting squeezed out by the 3 friends right here that knew each other before the show. It's like, oh,
I did not know.
Let's gang up on Dylan.
Ben
Let's
and
kick
Connor
him
don't
out.
know each other. Dylan, how'd your weekend go in college football betting this week?
I came out even.
Barely. Was
Shout out to Boston College outright.
What about Saturday and Sunday? How'd that go?
Well, I mean, those were bad, but I mean,
Yeah.
we have no data. We have no data.
Yeah, see, that's
all we
why
have is preseason hype, and this is when we hone it in. This is when you look at my action profile. This is when I've shined.
Yeah, but then week 1, week 2, week 3, we still don't know a lot. That's why you gotta know ball. If you know ball, you know what's gonna happen in week 1, week 2, week 3.
You might know.
I don't know
Prediction.
a lot.
Prediction: Nico throws a pick with 2.5 minutes left to steal the game for NC State. I think Nico plays great.
That's brutal.
But I think late game mistake for a young guy like that. I think he's going to get it out of his system in this game. I really do.
Also,
Mom's gonna hate this segment.
I'm sorry. I know.
Sorry.
I love Tennessee. As a Knoxville resident right now. I'm high on them. They're going to make the SEC title game. I think this is a slip up spot for them.
I
Hear how
think
Connor's voice got a little lower when he started saying that.
No, yeah, I know. I got to be careful. People like
yeah.
slow my balcony, snipers.
Yeah,
Carter, what were
no.
you gonna say?
I just want to apologize to your mom if she's going to be listening to this, because yeah, no, but I'm high on Tennessee as well. I've bought into the hype, but I'm also so high on NC State, and I can't sell my NC State stock. And also, if NC State wins this game, my win total bet for the season, my biggest bet of the offseason, will cash. If State wins this game, it's free money.
This is a win-win for guys like us, Carter. Well, I don't know about you, but I took Tennessee and NC State, so
I did take
I can't lose
Tennessee,
here.
So.
So, a question, kind of out in the realm of things. If I had NC State as my overrated team, how much do they have to lose by for me to have some able to take a small
touchdowns.
victory lap?
3 touchdowns.
I think so.
So you guys are saying NC State's going to win, but then in order for me to be right about saying they're overrated, they have to lose by 3 touchdowns?
They're
because
underdogs
look
by 7.5 points.
Yeah, they're 7.5 point underdogs.
Okay, all right,
And
fair
also,
enough, noted.
Yeah, but if it's 3 touchdowns and they get embarrassed, I think you can. The
You're
take
allowed to
has
start-
some credence. They got to lose to like a Cal in the ACC though for that to hit, because I mean you're competing right now with. I said Florida State was going to be overrated. They lose to Boston College.
That's
and
true. That's true.
Georgia Tech.
You can put the feelers out. If State looks like crap on Saturday and gets blown out by 3 scores, you can put the feelers out. Be like, anybody worried yet? And then you'll get some pushback. But
Yeah, because Connor said Clemson was overrated, and they played freaking Georgia, but they got humiliated a little bit against Georgia. So
that's a
why
big
that
like,
one,
do you know ball? Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know
if that would have been a 10-point
I'm just
game,
kidding.
I don't think we would have been like, oh yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll put a feeler out there. Well, hey, what are we thinking about NC State now? Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Anyhow.
I can give you some tips, Dylan,
la-
on how to piss off some State fans. I'll give you some tips.
Last game we're going to talk about. This is going to be the most watched game of the week. It's Colorado, Nebraska. Colorado, Nebraska in Lincoln. Nebraska -7.5. Last season, if you don't remember, Nebraska got humiliated. They were a 2-point favorite, I believe, in Boulder, and Colorado destroyed them, manhandled them. I think it was 36-12 final.
36-14 final.
36-14 final. Manhandled them. Matt Rule got humiliated on TV. Dylan, is this year different?
Is this year different? Is this year different? Is this year different? Dylan Raiola is going to be the factor here. And hand up, I said this on the live stream. I did not get to watch much of that game. I heard he was great. I saw a clip. He looked pretty good. The season-long question for Colorado is just going to be who can stop Shedeur and Travis Hunter. That's the season. That is the number one. You want to analyze any Colorado game, you have to start there. To be honest, I don't really know the answer to that question with this Nebraska team. I think offensively, Nebraska looks a lot better than they did last year using the small sample size of one box score, really. This Colorado team is made up of everything that I hate. Like, they don't play defense. They don't tackle.
Whoa. What? Let's take a pause there, Dylan.
What do you mean?
Made up of everything you hate.
Kicking
The
out
Beyond
reporters.
Truthers aren't going to like that one.
Kicking out reporters. That's crazy, by the way. You want to talk about being the biggest baby of all time. But anyway, they don't tackle well. They don't play defense well. The offensive line is better than I think what people give them credit for. It was kind of like a scapegoat at some point last season. They graded out decent in pass block. If Colorado ever runs into a referee that wants to call penalties, like is penalty happy, they're screwed, right? Shiloh almost killed a couple guys last week. Yeah. So do I have a take here? I think it's going to be high scoring. I don't think there's going to be a lot of defense. Definitely no defense from Colorado. Nebraska, I mean, it's just going to be hard to stop Colorado's offense. So I do have a final score prediction. I'll hold that off, but I think it's going to be high scoring. I think it'll be close. 1 score.
I watched a good chunk of Raiola, and I liked what I saw, but it's so hard to decipher against FCS opponents. And Are we a little worried? We talked about this. Oh, the U is back. Oh, I don't want to. We always talk about Miami has great expectations every year. They're always back and all this stuff. Are we a little worried about backing Nebraska with expectations and Nebraska as a favorite? Because I feel like that falls through more than any other preseason hype train.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And I'm especially worried about crowning a true freshman quarterback after one game as the next savior of the program. I think he'll probably be awesome, but I'm not ready to crown that yet. It's kind of like how I compared him to Anthony Richardson in the NFL draft. It's like I haven't seen enough yet. Like I just haven't seen enough from Raiola. I think he'll be great. He's not going to be Patrick Mahomes, but he'll be a damn good quarterback. It's just I don't know if I'm ready to back him in this spot in a huge game like this in his first real test.
Yeah, because I just can't wait. That's going to be a phenomenal kickoff because
even as vulnerable as Colorado's defense is, Karter, I just like as a true freshman, I think same thing with Nico. Even though he's got more experience, like I think Raiola is due for a couple mistakes. I think Colorado wins this game.
Whoa, Colorado wins.
I do. I think Colorado wins this game. I saw enough from their offense, and if their defense can just be average, I think Raiola is going to make a couple mistakes.
That's where I disagree. I just I agree with the point that if Colorado's defense is just average, that they can win this game. But I just don't think they can be average. I just think they're just a bad defense, and I don't think they can be anything more than that. I do trust that. I think Nebraska's defense. I think Nebraska's defense can be average. I think Nebraska's defense is good enough to get a few stops that a North Dakota State defense isn't going to get. And although Raiola isn't perfect, they're going to be able to feast upon a defense that's just really weak. I like Nebraska to win this game. I think it's a high-scoring game, but I really like Raiola. I don't think he'll be perfect. Raiola is one of those guys week one. I didn't chime in earlier, but he's someone where he just has the look to him, where like he just throws a pretty ball.
Tall.
No, he definitely doesn't have abs. He's like Patrick Mahomes with like the dad bod kind of thing going on. But no, he's got a big arm. He throws a pretty ball. Obviously that doesn't really matter right now, but I think that does at least matter when he's a junior, that he's going to be a very good quarterback. He's going to be an NFL prospect. He's not perfect, but I think he does enough to get the job done.
And I know we can put too much credence into this stuff where you talk about bulletin board material, but I don't think anybody this season has as much bulletin board material going into a game as Nebraska has going into this one. Because last year, Matt Rule and company got humiliated last year, like I mentioned. They get destroyed. They get to play at home. They're all going to want this game back. Every returning player, every returning coach has circled this game in the preseason as the number one game they want to win. This is a classic rivalry game as well. I like Nebraska here. I don't trust Colorado's defense. I think a lot of people are going to see Colorado on the spread and be like, ooh, 7.5 point dog. I wouldn't take the 7.5 for Nebraska. I don't think they blow them out by any means. But I think Nebraska is going to have the ball last, and that's how they're going to win. Every Colorado game is just Looney Tunes. It's just a video game. You watch the North Dakota State game, you saw that interception. That was a college football 25 interception.
Yeah.
The way Shedeur Sanders plays, it's just dancing around the pocket, running for his life, and then all of a sudden a back foot, 1 foot throw, 40 yards on a dime to Travis Hunter. Nothing makes sense with this Colorado team. Also, Dylan, you talk about the Colorado offensive line. I think they get a little too much flack because at some point, Shedeur, throw the ball away. Throw the ball away. He tries to make a Hollywood throw every single pass. And that's part of why he's great, but also at some point he's got to get that maturity level up where he can throw the ball away. And if he does that, I think Colorado is much more successful. But
and obviously
Nebraska pulling out close.
The athleticism's there for Shedeur, obviously, but that offensive line, it seemed to be what everybody was blaming, and I think there were more problems there than just the offensive line. It's also, we talk about like wanting to fade hype, buy into hype or whatever. I like to fade hype going into the early weeks. These are like, it's a hype off, and it's like they cancel out, like in math class, when you have like a
PEMDAS.
PEMDAS, negatives make a positive, things like that.
Because I think the result of this game is going to have absurd consequences, because any result you think of, whatever extreme you think after this game, that's going to happen. Let's say Nebraska blows them out. I mean, humiliates them. I'm talking 48-10 final, blows them out. Colorado might quit on the field. Colorado, they might not fly back to Boulder. They might
give Raiola
Shedeur
the
and
Heisman
Travis
right
Hunter
there.
might move. Yeah, they might move to LA and start working out for the draft.
Get Lil Wayne out there, have a little post-game concert.
But then let's say Colorado wins this game. Let's say Colorado comes in, upsets them, wins as a 7.5-point dog in Lincoln. People are going to talk about first take. I guarantee the first segment's going to be it's going to surpass the Cowboys. It's going to be
last year. It's going to be last year. Look what happened last year when they beat
Colorado
Nebraska.
make the playoff? Should Deion Sanders be coach of the year? Should Deion Sanders get the Cowboys job? That's going to be the headlines.
Guess what our number one clip's going to be? You're going to ask us that question next week, and that's going to be our number one viewed clip on social media. So we're going to prepare for that.
Yeah, 7 million.
I'll say this. I think this game could very well come down to who has the ball last. I think that's fine. But I think more than that, it's going to come down to which offense can make a play in crunch time and not make a mistake and maybe lead a game-winning drive down the field. And as of right now, I trust Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in this Colorado offense more than I trust Raiola as a true freshman in a huge spot like this in his first real test. That's why I'm going Colorado here. I think it's close. I think it is going to be tight. I'm not saying Colorado's going to come out and steamroll because in the preview show even, I was like, I'm down on Colorado this year. There's too much hype. Like their schedule is brutal. But I do think this is a game they can pull out as an underdog.
Are we sure that even if Colorado doesn't get a big win here, that they don't just
if they win it all,
quit and not go to Boulder? Yeah. They're just like, well, we're all preparing for the draft now.
Yeah,
just quit.
Yeah.
so maybe they quit either way.
Pro day a few months
Shedeur and Travis Hunter are like, no matter what happens this Saturday, we are moving to LA and preparing for the
Yeah, because you look at their schedule. They have Colorado State the following week. They have a couple easier games, Baylor at home, and then at UCF. I think they can win that game. But then it's Kansas State, Arizona. Like Colorado, Arizona might have 100 points each in that game. It's going to look like an NBA final.
That's facts.
If you can
score
get
predictions
that early, holy crap! Score predictions. Let's do it. I have Nebraska 41, Colorado 38.
Wow. I have Nebraska 42, Colorado 35.
I have Colorado 38, Nebraska 30.
I have Nebraska 45, Colorado 37.
Nice.
So we are all going points in this game.
It could very well be last team to have the ball, and I hate backing Colorado on the road like this. I really do, because like their schedule is brutal. I was way under on their win total, but I do think this is a spot they can.
Connor, how excited are you to see the Johnny Wing tweet of 95% of the money and bets are on Colorado plus 7.5 in this game?
It won't even be that. It'll be like Colorado money line is the most bet ticket of the weekend, and I'll be like, all right, like what are we doing here? And then they're gonna get stomped by 20. No,
112% of the bets.
Yeah.
We got people making stuff up.
Yeah.
Other games I wanted to touch on really quick. Iowa State, Iowa classic rivalry game. Dylan, this is a Dylan wet dream game.
I don't know. Cade McNamara, Heisman, they scored 40 points last week. When's the last time Iowa scored 40 points in a month, let alone one game?
So you're saying over 35.5 in this game?
Don't want to commit. But Cade McNamara may have rejuvenated this Iowa offense. Michigan man, by the way.
I was going to say, I like Iowa State plus 3 in this game.
Yeah, they'll probably win.
Hey,
I love
this. This is the game I'm going to preview for the parlay, actually. So I wrote all this down. This is my parlay pick. I love Iowa State in this spot. If you can get him at plus 3, I'm a Rocco Beck truther. I know last week he was 20-26, 267, 2 touchdowns, played pretty well. As a team, they didn't look awesome. But on the Big 12 preview show, I said it again, their defense was ranked second in the conference last year behind only Texas. They returned all 4 D-line starters from a quality run defense, top 40. I believe in them to stop this Iowa offense. I really do. Don't trust Cade as much as we joke with Dylan. Cade McNamara is not scaring me on the offensive end. And as good as Iowa's defense is, I think in a low-scoring game, Iowa State can pull this out. And I think Iowa State plus 3 is one of my favorite plays of the weekend.
Yeah, it was on my board too. I love that.
I'm going with Iowa because Iowa's my most underrated Big Ten team, and I got to stick with that. And I just got to stick with that. I think the offense is going to be a little better enough to win a game against Iowa State at home. That's what I'm going with. It's 2.5. I think they win by a field goal. Like, I could see it being like 17-14. That would not shock me. But Iowa's always one of those teams where you don't like them, but they're going to win way more games than you expect. Always.
What feels like a fever dream is back in 2021, Iowa was ranked the number 2 team in the nation. Anybody remember that?
Yeah,
that seems crazy to me.
I very much remember that. Other game I wanted to touch on. This is potential game of the year for me. This hasn't reached it. It's game of the month as of now. It's game of the month right now. The Virginia Cavaliers +3 in Winston-Salem this week against Wake Forest.
Oh my gosh.
There's no reason Virginia should be dogs in this game. There's no reason. Anthony Calandri is going to dice up that Wake Forest defense. Wake Forest is a very, very bad football team. I think week 1 is a wash for both teams. Both teams look great against FCS teams. I don't think that really matters. Wake can kind of run the ball a little bit from what I saw in week 1, but I think it's just a matter of these teams are basically the same across the board. One just has a far, far, far superior quarterback. That comes into play here. Winston-Salem's not going to be a home field advantage at all. No one cares about Wake Forest football this season. The program.
Hunters is going to be rocking, Karter. Come on.
Yeah, no, the motorcycle is going to come out, and everyone's just like, and it's just Virginia fans saying "Go Hoos" basically when the motorcycle's coming out for the Demon Deacon.
I think this is one of those games. If you buy into the Anthony Calandria hype or that this Virginia team can make a bowl game, this is a game you got to win.
Yep,
there's really no reason not to win this one.
UVA +3. Game of the month right now. I don't think it'll reach game of the year, but that's going to be my pick this week. I also Go ahead, Connor.
Didn't you guys hear that they announced Tony Muskett starting this week? They're going to just go every other week.
That is something Virginia football would do.
Yeah, I mean, like day of the games. Like, we're going to go with Muskett against Wake and Winston, and all the bookmakers know. None of us know.
Boise State +18.5. I don't know what the line is now. That's what I saw last night.
You like that?
Don't hate it.
I like Oregon.
Boise State's going to be able to run the ball on Oregon. They're going to be able to control the clock.
Defense is not great.
The defense struggles, but they're going to be able to run the ball all day on Oregon, too.
I think this is a get-right game for Oregon. I think the Dylan Gabriel being the Heisman favorite, I think after struggling in week 1, I think this is the week they really pop off. A lot of those weapons on the outside, they're just going to
Or is Dylan Gabriel not as good as we thought he was?
I'm not ready to say that yet.
Look, he's great in short yardage, but do you really trust him to throw that deep ball?
I think there's going to be some big numbers from Dylan Gabriel in Oregon this week. Sneaky 18.5 is not enough. I know people are picking Boise State as their group of 5 team to make the playoff, but I think this is a get-right week for Oregon. I love minus 18.5.
It's not my parlay pick. UVA +3 is my parlay pick anyways. But
okay.
Any games, Dylan or Ben, you want to touch on? I'll start with you, Dylan.
Honestly, my plans for that got a little wrecked this morning, so follow me on Twitter. Everything will be there. Every play, whatever. Nothing off the top of my head. Go blue.
Okay. What's your parlay pick this week?
Michigan +7.5.
I'm not betting that.
Nope.
Okay.
Veto.
That's fine. Be a loser.
If I have a risk-free bet, I might do it just for vibes.
All right, fine. Michigan money line.
There we go. All right.
Can I remind you of Josh Oliver?
All right. Michigan money line, NC State money line, Colorado money line, and UVA
Boise
money
State.
line.
Boise State money line.
If you really don't want to do Michigan +7.5, that's my official parlay pick. So if this one hits and the next one I give loses, you guys will hear it from me for the rest of the season.
No, if that's your pick, we can do it.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right.
I think it's fine.
All right, Ben, what's yours?
For the parlay, I'm going to go Mississippi State +6.5. I think a lot of people, Arizona State has been considered a bad team on paper for good reason. And I think they crushed Wyoming, who I believe has a new coach. And I think
too. Missing their starting running back, missing their star tight end. Yeah.
Which I think though, like I saw a lot of kind of takes online, like specifically Big 12, like, ooh, Arizona State looked really good this weekend. Like, I wouldn't really factor much into that. I think people are sort of going, oh, Wyoming's usually pretty good. It's usually hard to crush them. So that must mean you're pretty good. Whereas Mississippi State had a good game. I think Jeff Lebby is good enough to get some points out of them. So I think Arizona State has a good chance of still winning. I don't really have a big preference, but I think it's a close enough game that 6.5 is too much. So I like Mississippi State to at least cover the number, maybe win. I'm undecided on that, but I like Mississippi State +6.
I like that pick.
I might take that straight up as well. Kansas -5.5 is also getting played this week. Don't overthink it. Illinois, everyone talks about Illinois offensive line and their offense is solid. Don't overthink it. Kansas, they've played this game multiple years now. Kansas rules Illinois. It doesn't matter.
I do want to say slight breaking news. My brother, who's an Illinois fan, has said that Illinois is going to be good this year. So
That's what every Illinois fan
saying.
is on that.
I just wanted to relay that information.
Kansas minus 5.5. But anyhow, yeah. So the parlay is UVA +3, Michigan +7.5, should be +21.5. Even then, I don't like that number. Connor, what was your pick again?
I'm going Iowa State +3.
+3.
If you have to buy the half point, do it to get them at +3. I know it's been moving recently, but I love Iowa State.
That was murder to Dylan's ears. And then
Don't buy a half point in college
Mississippi
football.
Mississippi State +6.5. All right. Anything else we want to touch on before we leave?
I just want some flowers for doing this entire podcast on my porch because literally, guys, I'm on my knees for the KarterKast right now.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
Ooh.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
You hear the
I
birds
know.
chirping in the background, some cicadas here in beautiful Knoxville. People probably don't like me picking Tennessee to lose, but I'm here. I'm sacrificing for the Cavs.
I'm looking at the lighting right now. I look like those weird Bill Simmons videos right now where he looks like a White Walker.
His like eyes are really wide.
Anyhow, all right,
That's what they call you on the streets of Utah, right? White Walker?
That's what they should be called.
Man.
Anyhow,
I'll get it.
all right, that's it from
Jaywalking,
us.
please.
Use KarterKast. Use code KarterKast at SeatGeek. $20 off your first purchase. $50 minimum purchase required. KarterKast, SeatGeek. $20 off. First purchase. SeatGeek.com. We are back tomorrow. You're listening to this right now. It's either late Tuesday night or Wednesday. We are back Thursday morning with NFL Week 1 preview. So excited about that. And then we're going to have NFL or college football live stream after the NC State Tennessee game live stream, a little 30-45 minute live stream on Twitter or YouTube, potentially TikTok. We'll see you there. And then Sunday, we will have our NFL recap. It'll be out late Sunday night. Very excited about that. Make sure to tune in, subscribe. That's going to be the episode schedule all season long. Make sure to subscribe. If you don't get the episode, you're going to be like, oh, when do these episodes come out? Doesn't matter. Subscribe, and then it'll send you the episode. It doesn't matter. Anyhow, follow us all on social media, at KarterKast on everything. We'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.